Hi friends, how are you doing? Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel, and let's get into the cool videos. Let's get to watch them. William Barr, okay, the former Attorney General of the United States, served under President Trump, okay? He came up with a book and he's been going around giving interviews. Obviously is trying to sell the book he has, but there are chilling details in his book, okay? He attacks the media. He even when he was in the office, attacked the media, okay? And now he tells us a little bit about Trump, President Trump, and what he was thinking after elections, during the presidency, during his presidency. But I want to just focus on after the elections, okay? Because this guy was right inside, okay? He's not a saint. There are decisions that he made that I disagreed with him. Even some of the statement today he's making in his book, I disagree with some of them. But at least he gives us the conversation that he used to have or was having with Trump. And obviously Trump is not having none of that. And he came out strong and accused William Barr with a lot of things. That is part 2 coming on this video. This is part 1. So let me just go ahead and play and see what William Barr is saying.
For most of your tenure as Attorney General, you were eviscerated by the mainstream media for doing Donald Trump's bidding, for politicizing the Justice Department, and especially in cases where he publicly insisted that you prosecute his opponents or intervene on behalf of his friends. Did all that negative coverage bother you?
Not particularly. I expected it, and one of the reasons I felt that I was maybe the best person to take the job at the time was that I was done my career and I wasn't worried about the next job, but I expected that kind of criticism. And what really brought it about was, that I dealt with the false Russiagate story, which I think the president's...
So remember the Russia, okay? And the investigation that went in, the special counsel was chosen, and under Trump, while Trump was president, this was going on. And it was William Barr who came in and stopped it, and really helped Trump with that process. So that's what he's talking about. So he and Trump have the same view on this. Hang on tight, more is coming.
I thought they had him on the ropes with that. It was a phony scandal, and I dealt with it, and they didn't like it.
Obviously, it had to be covered by the press because of the appointment of a special counsel, but you concede in the book that Donald Trump's rhetoric and his tweets made it easier for the media and others to attack your decisions as politically motivated, whether it was the Roger Stone case or the Mike Flynn case or something else. At one point, you went on ABC and you said, "President's making it impossible for me to do my job." Explain.
Right. When I talked to him initially about the job, I said, look, the criminal justice process has to be insulated from politics. That's the chief responsibility of the Attorney General.
You hear that? It has been to be insulated away from all these politics, but Trump did not want that. He would want the Justice Department to work for him and prosecute his enemies. You're gonna hear he's gonna say chilling stuff.
So you have to stay out of it. He agreed to that. But what he would do is, he has to give commentary on everything.
Yes, I noticed.
And when I would make a decision based on the merits, what I thought was the right decision under the law, he would then tweet about it in a way that made it seem to people that I was doing his bidding, or at least, could give that impression. And he did that. It's a way of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. I felt responsibly with the sentencing of Roger Stone.
But it didn't necessarily look that way. Yeah. Now, you repeatedly slam the media in this book, and this is the time to give your side. But when it comes to Trump's claims of election fraud, as everyone now knows, you say you write that the election wasn't stolen.
Okay, hang on right there. So he writes in his book that elections were not stolen. Okay, were not stolen. This is the former Attorney General for President Trump. He had all the power to look into different aspects of allegations of fraud, and he said it wasn't, which Trump was not happy. He's contradicting the prophets who still up to today, like Hank Kuhneman, Mario Molillo, Pastor Jim Bailey, all these prophets, they're saying that elections were stolen because their false prophecy came to nothing. Okay, they prophesied that Trump will be reelected. It didn't happen. So now they're hanging on to election fraud allegation. Bill Barr, who had all the power, looked at the evidence, at least the courts did, the Supreme Court did, and there was nothing in there to overturn the elections. And Trump wanted Bill Barr to do that.
The president denounced you for telling him that and said you must hate Trump. But you and the media are actually on the same page in saying there was no widespread election fraud.
Well, that's true. So, even a broken clock is right. That's the media. But I took a look at the evidence, and I was convinced that fraud did not play a role in the outcome of the election.
Fraud did not play a role in the outcome of the election. So, in other words, Barr is saying that Trump lost, and it was not because elections were stolen. So, Christian, who is a false prophet, and many prophets that I've covered on this channel who keep insisting, oh, Trump won, so the prophecy didn't fail, and that's why it just that it was stolen. No, it's not.
And once you went public with that finding in an AP interview, I remember this day very well, no widespread fraud was found by the Department of Justice. Some of the media that had reviled you for years suddenly started praising you. Did you find that curious?
I didn't hear the praise very much, but I wasn't going for the praise. But
now you were an ally.
Now I was an asset in their general position.
So a lot of people there where even on this channel, oh, Trump won and the election was stolen. Bill Barr actually told us before he even resigned, while Trump was president, that there was no election fraud that would overturn the election. He looked at it. The courts in different battleground states looked at it. They rejected. The Supreme Court didn't even take the case because it's so weak in merits.
You also agree with the media, it turns out, from reading your book, that you write about the absurd lengths to which he took his stolen election claim led to the rioting on Capitol Hill. Is that one of the reasons you would rather that he did not run for his old job in 2024?
Not really. It's not the main reason I'm against it. I'm against him running. But I did feel that he acted irresponsibly after the election, and he took things too far. It's one thing to
That I agree. He took things too far. Trump was going crazy. Okay. Bill Barr knew like Trump was crossing the lines of democracy that he shouldn't cross. And Bill Barr is saying today he don't support Trump to run in 2024. This is just one of the reasons. In fact, he also accredits him to the January 6th riot, the insurrection that took place. And according to Bill Barr, Trump had some blame in that. He had some inspiration towards that. Just like many prophets who are falsely prophesying that, oh yeah, it will be changed. The election will change on January 6th. We're not taking our country back. We are taking democracy back. Trump will be inaugurated on January 20th. It was all lie to fit into their false prophecy that God did not give this prophecy to them, but they're just all political pundits.
The election, but to tell people that it was stolen with a degree of certitude he was, and suggesting there was some way to fix it by going up to Capitol Hill, went too far.
Now, you now say that Trump surrounded himself with sycophants and whack jobs, those are your words. Your detractors would say that you are using this book in an attempt to salvage your reputation and to distance.
Obviously, his reputation is shot. Bill Barr, obviously, he made some terrible decisions and all that stuff. He enabled Trump in so many ways. So this is a good question.
From a president who did, by your own account, try to politicize the DOJ and perhaps for his role on January 6th as well. You've heard that criticism.
Yeah, well, critics will always take that position. But I try to write a fair and balanced account of what I saw with Trump, and I give Trump a lot of credit. I don't apologize at all for having served in that administration. There's no mea culpa from me. The question is next, well, why didn't you speak up earlier? Speak up about what I thought it was a good administration. Yes, he was hard to deal with sometimes. Yes, you had to wrestle with him to keep things on track. But he basically listened to advice, and we accomplished a lot. And I think he was a historic president. But after the election is where things went off the rails.
Off the rails was your phrase.
Yeah.
But if his temperament is as terrible as you say, and there are lots and lots of examples in this book, which could suggest that you misjudged him at the outset, why do you think most Republicans still support Donald Trump?
I think because, for the same reason they supported him originally. I think that many in the middle class, the working class, are disgusted by the excesses of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party and the elites, and especially the media. They felt that the media has been corrupted and it's partisan. And he reflects that anger and that frustration. And he's gotten a lot of credit from them because he speaks plainly. He takes on the media directly. They like to see that. And he tries to keep his promises. And he can take a beating. I mean, he can take a shot and get up and keep on going.
Yes, he's a counterpuncher. But when Trump would say things like something that's predated your tenure, the press is the enemy of the American people and traitorous and, trying to turn the public against the press. You think that was part of his appeal? You think that's one of the reasons that Republicans like Donald Trump so much?
No, I think some Republicans did, but I think most of his base actually felt that he was frequently excessive, and they wanted him to tune it back. And I talked to him several times about that, and I said, when I go out in the country, I've yet to meet anybody who's come up to me from his base and hasn't said, "Would you please tell the president to tone it down a little bit?" And so I think a lot of his support was despite his pettiness and flaws, not because of it.
But now you have all these confrontations with Trump that you lay out in the book. For example, you're saying, "Damn it, Mr. President, I am not going to talk to you about Hunter Biden, period." Was it frustrating to stay quiet about such matters while the press portrayed you as a Trump lackey?
It was a little frustrating, but life is unfair, so I didn't really expect much different. But I learned that when you're a Republican, this town is unfair.
All right, so that is part one. This interview just happened a few minutes ago on Fox News Media Buzz with Howard Kurtz, okay? So part two now. Trump tells Bill Barr to prosecute Obama, Hunter Biden, and Biden himself to carry out investigations. And that was kind of a red line for Bill Barr. And you have to watch part two and hear his reaction, okay? So let's talk about it, guys. Leave a comment what you think was going on in the Trump presidency. What do you think Bill Barr is saying here? So we have at least a little window into the mind of Donald Trump, into his presidency. And after elections, according to Bill Barr, things got off the rails and Trump was unraveling daily. I'll see you in the video. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.